Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS. Let's get to the news. All right, Browns fans, this is one of those moments where you really need to sit down, take a deep breath, and analyze the big picture. The Browns just came out of a tough 27-20 loss to the Jets in New Jersey. And even though it was a close game, the headlines are swirling around the quarterback position. Dillon Gabriel, our promising third-round pick out of Oregon, looked a bit off in this one, and some fans are already asking if it's time for a change. But if you've been paying attention, the coaching staff, led by Kevin Stefanski, has made it clear they're sticking with Gabriel for now. That decision might surprise some, especially considering how the offense struggled overall, but there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that fans need to understand. Gabriel, who's been thrown into the fire after taking over from Joe Flacco earlier this season, has now lost 4 games as our starter, sitting at a 1-4 record. That's not the record Browns fans wanted or expected, especially after a promising start to the season. But it's important to remember that Gabriel is still very much in his developmental phase. He finished the game 17 of 32 for 167 yards, threw 2 touchdowns, but also faced some tough moments. He was sacked 6 times, which definitely put a dent in his confidence, and that's a tough pill to swallow for a young quarterback trying to find his footing in the NFL. On the ground, Gabriel added 54 yards on 5 carries, mostly late in the game when the Jets were trying to prevent deep plays and keep the clock running. It was gritty, it was tough, but let's be honest, this Browns offense still struggles to find its rhythm. Stefanski's decision to stick with Gabriel isn't just about loyalty or stubbornness, it's about trust. The Browns head coach clearly sees potential in Gabriel, and he recognizes that at this stage of his career, building confidence and consistency is the key. Stefanski made it clear that they're working to get one game better each week, and the focus is on improving as a team. "This is a young player, and you're always trying to get one game better," Stefanski said after the game. "We have to play better as an offense." That's the kind of leadership you want, especially when your franchise is still trying to find its identity after a couple of underwhelming seasons. But you can't ignore the elephant in the room. The offense just isn't firing on all cylinders. And that's where some fans start to question whether a change might be necessary. The Browns finished with just 278 yards of total offense against the Jets, which isn't enough to get the job done in the NFL. Coach Stefanski recently handed over play-calling duties to offensive coordinator Tommy Rees, hoping that a fresh perspective might ignite the offense. So far, that hasn't resulted in the kind of explosive plays fans are craving, but the Browns are still in the thick of things, and the coaching staff is determined to turn things around. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Despite Gabriel's struggles, there's a lot of buzz around Shedeur Sanders, the son of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, who's been climbing the ranks and was recently promoted to the number 2 quarterback behind Gabriel. Sanders, a 5th-round pick, was once considered a potential top pick, and many analysts thought he might go much higher. But falling to the 5th round was a surprise to many, and it's understandable why some fans are already speculating about his future. Sanders hasn't yet made his regular season debut, but his promotion signifies that the Browns see potential in him, and he's been impressing in practice. The question many fans are asking is whether it's time for a change at quarterback, especially if Gabriel doesn't start to show marked improvement soon. Gabriel himself acknowledged that when things aren't going well, change can be tempting. "When things aren't going well, there is always going to be change," he said. Because to keep doing the same thing and not change anything is insanity. That's a pretty honest statement, and it reflects the frustration many of us feel watching the offense struggle to sustain drives and put points on the board. But the coaching staff believes that sticking with Gabriel now, giving him more time to develop, is the best move for the long-term success of the team. Let's talk about the bigger picture for a moment. The Browns, despite their recent struggles, are still in the playoff hunt, and they have the talent to turn things around. The defense has been solid, and players like Myles Garrett continue to dominate on the line, giving Cleveland a real shot at keeping games close. The offensive line has had its moments, but protecting the quarterback and creating space for the run game remain critical issues. Nick Chubb's absence has been felt, but the team is trying to adapt and find new ways to move the ball. The addition of talented players like Amari Cooper has been key in providing some offensive firepower, but consistency remains the issue. Fans have every right to be anxious, especially with the division so competitive. The Ravens, Bengals, and Steelers are all lurking, and every game becomes more crucial. The Browns need to figure out their quarterback situation, whether that's sticking with Gabriel or giving Sanders a shot sooner rather than later. But for now, the coaching staff's decision to give Gabriel another shot makes sense. They believe in his potential and want to see if he can take the next step. It's about patience, development, and trusting the process, even when the results aren't immediate. Looking ahead, the Browns face a massive test next week against the Baltimore Ravens. This game could be a turning point, either a rallying point for the offense or a wake-up call that more drastic changes are needed. The Ravens are one of the top teams in the AFC North, and their defense is tough, led by stars like Odafe Oweh and the dynamic Lamar Jackson. Cleveland's defense will need to be at its best, and the offense must find a way to punch through and put points on the board early. That's the kind of game that could define the season, and fans are hoping our young quarterback, whether it's Gabriel or Sanders, steps up. But let's not forget the history of this franchise. The Browns have been through plenty of ups and downs, and every season seems to bring new challenges and new opportunities. The passion of the fans, the resilience of the team, and the leadership of Stefanski and the coaching staff all matter more than ever now. Cleveland fans are some of the most loyal in the league, and they deserve a team that fights for every yard, every point, and every victory. The journey isn't over, and there's still hope that this season can turn into something special, especially if the offense finds its rhythm and the young players step up. In conclusion, the Browns are at a crossroads. The decision to stick with Dillon Gabriel for now shows confidence in his potential, but the pressure is mounting. Fans want to see progress, and they're eager to see what Shedeur Sanders can bring when he finally gets his shot. The upcoming game against the Ravens will be a huge test for everyone involved, coaches, players, and fans alike. It's a defining moment to see if Cleveland can overcome the adversity, improve on offense, and keep pushing toward that playoff spot. The Browns have a talented roster, a passionate fan base, and a history of overcoming obstacles. It's all about how they respond in these critical moments. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cleveland Browns. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news. Let's keep the faith, stay loud, and keep believing in this team. We're all in this together, and I know that brighter days are ahead. Go Browns!